County a tight game here tonight, high leverage situations on the mound. What can you say about this win here on a Wednesday night?
Yeah, it was a win, and that's what you're looking to do. I talk with our guys all the time. I've either had the misfortune or fortune of being a pitching coach and a hitting coach, and it can be aggravating at times when one side snips at the other, or fans or somebody chimes in, the pitchers didn't get it done or the hitters didn't get it done. There's a flow to the game, and sometimes it's a low-scoring game, sometimes it's high, other times it's different, and this just was not going to be a high-scoring game, so it was going to be a little bit based on will more than skill or more than other things too, and the two lefties we had put their will on display, as did probably a guy that's been challenged more than anybody in our locker room to show up every day, because it's so impressive when SEMO has that will to win in a regional like against Clemson, but this is baseball, and eventually he's going to play pro ball. It's an everyday thing, and he and some others just wouldn't be denied, especially in the batter's box. He and Blake Burke, and then that play he made going to his left was incredible. But going back to your thing, I would say if there was something, you'd like a win that was a little more appealing to people or appealing to our dugout, but you just find a way to win, man. And if there was something real pleasurable about it, those two lefties are out there a bunch for us. And there's probably been guys in the past or this year that's, I throw harder than those two guys, or I should be out there. Well, they're reliable. If you've ever seen the movie Departed, being reliable is pretty important. And that's why they're out there. But at the same time, those two guys have been taken out of games real quick, real early, for various reasons too, that the coaching staff thinks is the best thing for the team. But all they ever do is show up with the same attitude every single day, same leadership, same will to get better. And this was a game where I think Kirby might have mentioned Xander was going to get a true start, and he made the most of it. And then we weren't going to anybody else other than Kirby, regardless of what the score of the game was. So he got it done, and he had Xander's back, he had our team's back, and a couple of his teammates back too in the field.
Just how huge has Kirby been out of the pen this year? Some high leverage situations so far, and he's succeeded every time.
Yeah, I think he's got a ton of experience under his belt, but also just, like I said, a lot of work. Just little things about fielding his position, manipulating the baseball to the best of his ability, playing catch every day, volunteering to help out the coaching staff in certain situations so he can see things from different angles. You've seen him. I mean, whether it's the first pitch or anything, he's always active, he's always involved. So the thing we want is, we could talk about a couple other decisions, or lineup stuff. Just every day when you come to the park, when you're a coaching staff, you want to put the kids in a position to succeed, so ultimately the team, which is the most important thing, is in a good position to succeed. And you also understand when you show up to the park, it may not work out. When you sign up for this thing or you show up to compete against somebody, even if it's just in ping pong, you can win or you can lose, assuming you play all the way till it's over with. And if you do lose, you just want to be able to go home at night and get some sleep. And like if Redmond Walsh loses a game for you, I'm not a good sleeper, but I'd fall pretty fast asleep on that one. It wouldn't bother me one bit. So that's just kind of an example.
What did you see from Xander being able to go a career long in distance today?
Yeah, I think he's got that ability. Again, a lot of times we've had really good arms waiting in the wings that we're just trying to get creative and find ways to get out there. So I think he's kind of always had that ability, but also tonight he was executing with what was available to the pitchers. And also I think, we made a couple plays behind him. It was just overall a good combination. Again, why he's out there, why you throw out the term reliable is he's got good presence. He throws strikes. He doesn't really get bothered, almost to the point where you kind of want to, shove him sometimes. He can't really get phased regardless of what's going on around him. And I say that in jest, but that presence and that strike throwing ability is something that is a huge security blanket, and that's kind of what I was referring to when I said, you want some feel good when you're writing out the lineup, and you want some feel good when you're driving home to, wherever it is you live.
2-run, 6th inning, but overall a little bit more of a quieter night offensively. What did you see in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple things attributing to that, but what was in control of our hitters was making an adjustment against a pitcher that was doing very well, for them. And, you see a guy from different slot, he's trying to get you to hit into ground ball situations, and you kind of do it over and over again. You'd like to see some sort of adjustment. So there was a little bit in our control that could have been better from our guys. Then some frustration, from things out of their control creeps into those at-bats and makes the at-bats worse. So that's just not a formula for scoring. But when you get punched in the gut, now all of a sudden you don't have time to analyze or fret or worry or kind of wallow in self-pity. You better get to work. And we were very fortunate, kind of talked about it when we were out on the mound making the change for Schaefer, who got a big out for us. We got the right guys up to bat. And again, those two older guys would not be denied. And overall, you can kind of feel that vibe from our dugout. So it could be, for somebody who didn't come to the game, it could be written, or kind of seen almost as a moral victory for the other team or not a good win or somewhat of a loss. I don't know. I think you know what I'm getting at. We should win by more. We're an SEC team and they're not or whatever. This is baseball, and it was one more way that our guys found a way to win. Because I've been around teams that when it gets to about the sixth inning and it's going the way that it is, they'll just will, and they'll envision themselves losing. And we had some leaders step up, but also I think the whole dugout kind of felt the same way. We'll find a way. We'll find a way to get it done ugly.
Tony, do you have an update on Chris Thomas?
Yeah, he threw a bullpen, kind of up to us. You could accuse us of not being good at a few things or me not being good at a few things. One will always be conservative with those guys, especially early in the year, so he's ready. Russell looked really good throwing today. We're making him go through a couple more steps than Stamos because he took more days off, so kind of just build him back up. But if there's any delay in using him, it'll be my fault. So he looks good.
You imagine the same plan as last weekend, probably Causey, Beam, and then
Yeah, Beam, we'll throw on Saturday, and after that we'll kind of see what's available. And I think we got to worry about Friday because we've had 2 midweek games. Both have been strenuous. We've used a lot of guys in different situations. We'll see who's available behind Causey, but we probably just need to focus on Friday. And again, that reliability word is there on Saturday, which makes it nice. But who will be used after those 2 starters is more important than who will be left on Sunday. And it'll be a challenge. I mean, the schedule's lined up the way it is for a reason. We want it to basically be an SEC weekend, and we're fortunate enough to be at home, but I think this will simulate us going to Alabama as good as anything, playing the Illinois team we are. If you look at those scores, they'll be very similar to what we're going to see.